Hello, everyone. This is another edition of the After Chat. We are here at the old ECW Arena, EC Dub, better known now, of course, as the 2300 Arena. And today is the great convention, the Icons of Wrestling and Comic Book Collector Fest. And we want to thank the promoters for letting us come down here. And my guest today is a man who's a WWE Hall of Famer. He's been a champion of so many, including WWE, so many places all around the world. And I always say this guy's a great guy, but this time I really mean it. Ted Dibiase, welcome to the After Chat.
Bill, it's always great to be with you.
Likewise. Now, you and I, we were talking before we went on camera about that trip in the mid-'80s in Japan, and it is documented in my book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I Didn't Know It Was Broken. That trip, by the way, was one of the best trips I've ever had in my life. What do you remember besides Joe Higuchi and Bruce Brody and Stan Hansen?
I remember that we all had a great time.
Yes.
Well, had an excellent time, especially one night when we went to a bar
karaoke bar.
A karaoke bar, and there seemed to be somebody that was very attracted to you. You remember that? Yeah,
again, it's in my book, but do you see, Terry Funk and Ted Dibiase did take me to a karaoke bar, and Terry Funk has said to me, after I understand that you're a big-time singer and I've told all these people. So I got up there and remember the song. Do you remember the song I did?
I don't remember.
My Way. My Way in Japan. And as I was in the middle of a song, this beautiful young lady starts undressing me, and Ted and Terry Funk are hysterical, and she's kissing me and all this kind of stuff. So afterwards, they said, "You're not married, right?" I said, "No, I just went through a divorce." And we're walking down an alleyway, and she's kissing my ear, and Ted comes over and he says, "I can't take this anymore." I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "It's a guy." Ah! So, yeah, you guys got me.
That was great. It was one of the greatest ribs we ever pulled.
Oh, it really was. It really was. And I actually look upon that very fondly because I enjoyed that whole trip.
It was really a great trip. Yeah, we all had a great time.
But those were in the days when guys could pull ribs on people and not. It wouldn't be on social media, of course. Yeah. You wouldn't be sued for it. Everything was.
I just remember that for the next couple of days, you continued to gargle and rinse your mouth out.
Yes, on a regular basis there. So what I wanted to talk to you about, you've been on the After Chat many times, but I saw something a few days ago and I went, whoa, Ted Dibiase. There's a movie coming out about Ted Dibiase, and it says it's going to open nationwide. So I went to my computer and I looked, Regal Movie Theater, Warrington, Pennsylvania, my local movie theater, and there it was in November. So tell the people out there who don't know anything about this, what's going on?
Well, Bill, it's a movie docudrama. It's a fella who interviewed me years ago for what they call a shoot interview. He was actually doing it for a friend. And so he started asking me, obviously, personal questions, and when you start asking me personal questions about my life, ultimately I'm going to start telling you about my relationship with God and Jesus Christ. And so what I didn't know at the time was that this young man's father was a minister, and he was, in his own words, somewhat backslidden at the time.
Yeah.
And so my story just kind of got all over him. And he and I became friends, and his job, what he does for a living is he's a photographer and does video for weddings.
Really?
And so that was his natural thing. And so he decided, he came to me one day and said, "Dad," he said, "I would love to make a documentary out of your story." And I said, "Well, Pete," I said, "Sure, I'd be happy for you to." And then my son, Ted Jr., came along and kind of added a twist to it to where we're going to tell the story, but kind of seen through his eyes and maybe the eyes of my younger son, Brett. And anyway, so this project's been going on for a long time. we did a Kickstarter program, oh my gosh, I don't know, a year or so ago, but there were some holdups, some as always in any kind of project like that.
Of course.
Some bumps in the road. But now we're at a place where, we have a date. It's called a Fathom event, which means it will be aired in 500 to 700 movie theaters.
I'm going.
For one day in select theaters all over the United States.
Right.
And it's called The Price of Fame. And basically, it's my story. It's the story of my personal redemption, the redemption and the salvation of my marriage and my relationship, not only with my wife but with my boys. So, we're excited, very excited.
Well, I'm inviting any fans out there who want to come and see this at the Regal Warrington with me that night. I'm not paying. They've got to pay their own way in, but we could have we can have a party that night and watch the movie, and let you know how we all enjoyed it.
Well, that's great, and I appreciate you, having the interview, Bill, and helping plug this thing, because we're excited about it. I mean, and the bottom line is, I want to, people ask me, what do you want people to take away from this? And in its simplest form, it would be to say this: to realize that money, power, prestige, and position in life are not the most important things. That the most important things, basically, the intangible things that are priceless, are your family and your friends. Having, I don't want to be remembered as only a wrestling legend. I want to be remembered as somebody who left a legacy,
and made a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. That at the end of my life, I cared more about the needs and concerns of my family, my friends, and other people than I did my own.
So Ted Dibiase is the exact opposite of who this guy was.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk to this guy for a minute now, and again, that invitation stands, and we can't wait to see the movie. So tonight, the comeback this evening, the $1 Million Man has said he would put up this belt against anybody, and tonight, Mr. Wrestling number 2 has decided to come after this belt. He is watching us live right now. $1 Million Man Ted Dibiase, tell Mr. Wrestling number 2 why you're going to beat him.
Mr. Wrestling 2? Okay, everybody knows all about Mr. Wrestling 2. I mean,
that knee lift.
Oh, the knee lift, and he's a wrestling machine, and wrist lock, and wrist lock. I don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch sometimes, but I'll say the same thing to Wrestling 2 that I've said to everybody else. Who's the biggest, baddest man in all of the WWE history? No, it's not Hulk Hogan. No, it's not The Rock. No, it's not the Ultimate Warrior. It's the $1 Million Man when he's standing on his wallet.
Bill Apter with Ted Dibiase and the $1 Million Man. We'll see you at the matches.